All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone out there. May 16th, we got one NBA playoff game to dive into in today's video. I'm going to dive into this game. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. Alright, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3, 4 more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of last night, I guess we could say close but no cigar. 0-2, a half unit play and a quarter unit play. Both came pretty damn close to cashing, but what does close count for, right? Can't take any credit for that. Thunder first quarter money line, and then Jamal Murray had it going early. He hit one early. I think he finished, 2 of 6 from 3. So that's why we sprinkled on it, right? Plus 142, looking for just one more from him. Didn't ultimately get it. He had a decent scoring night, though, but what a good game, right? Like, that is turning out to be a really, really good series, and it makes sense because Denver kind of had the Thunder's number during the regular season, one of the few teams, right? So very interested to see that Game 7 roll out, but we're talking Game 6 here. Knicks taking on my Boston Celtics. Obviously, no Jason Tatum in this one. That's really the only injury to note here. Precious Achiuwa was listed as questionable, but he's only gotten minimal run anywho in this series. So, yeah, we got the Knicks -2.5. Total sitting at 211. Let's talk about the side and total first, and then I'll get into kind of what I think I'm going to be rolling with more so because they're just different versions of it. So, I do think the Celtics have the chance of being able to win this game or definitely cover this game +2.5. Are they the better team? I still would say they're slightly better. They showed that in game number 5, but this might be me being biased, right? I'm a big Celtics fan. Allow me to be biased one last potential time this season, because if it's the last game of the year, boom, there it is, right? But I do still think that they can beat this Knicks team. Maybe I shouldn't jump to saying the better team and all that, because when push comes to shove, the Knicks, even when the Celtics had Tatum, the Knicks showed that when they need to make a basket, they make the basket. And the Celtics have shown when they need to make the basket, they do not make the basket. So maybe I can't even go that crazy saying better team, because the Knicks have been the better team, in the crunch time during this series. The Celtics have just been the better team when, the lights are a little less bright, which is unfortunate. But point being here, I'm going to lean Celtics plus the 2.5 points because I do still see a little bit of fire under them, and they looked pretty good, and I still think they can beat the Knicks without Tatum. Now, again, maybe this is me being biased. It's not going to be a final play because we do have a play on the Celtics that I already have thrown in for a quarter unit, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But ultimately, if you're sitting there in the comments being like, you're just being a biased Celtics fan, I really don't think I am, but if I am, whatever, let me do it potentially one last time on the season. I'm going to stick to what we've been doing in terms of a total. We've been crushing the over in this series, and it keeps cashing, right? I mean, the Celtics team scored, 127 last time out? They shot 36% from the field, the Knicks shot 36% from the field. They shot 40% from 3, and they only scored 102. The Knicks can shoot 40% from 3. Great. I expect their field goal percentage to go up from 36%. And then the Celtics side of things, they shot 52 and 45. I expect their field goal percentage to drop just slightly, but their 3 to hopefully stay right around 40%. We'd love to see that. Pritchard had a good game. White had a good game. Even Jalen and Horford made 60% of their threes. So even if that 3-point percentage drops a little bit, that field goal percentage should stay right between that 48 to 52 mark. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be looking at an over 211 in this spot. When we've seen these games in New York so far, it was a 115 to 93 game. Okay. That would be 208 if my math's correct finishing. But then the next time, right, 121 to 113. So I do think that there is a lot of potential here for points. And again, the Knicks have been scoring late in the games. You can never even count them out until the fat lady sings, right? being an elimination game, for both squads, like the Knicks should want to come out here and say, okay, let's score, because I don't think that we're the best defensive team, especially what we've shown so far in this series, right? The last couple games have been pretty high scoring. Last 3 games, the Celtics have scored 115, 113, 127 on them. So the Knicks should try and hit the ground running scoring. The Celtics, on the other hand, they know they need to get these big leads and go on runs and take buckets when they can get them, because they don't have their closer in Jason Tatum or anything like that. So it's not like they're going to play slow and say, hey, let's go possession for possession at the end. The Celtics will try and run this one up, and much like they did in game number 5, that should be their goal, because again, if this is a possession back and forth game, the Knicks start to get that advantage because of Brunson, because of Towns. They have to compete with Jaylen Brown trying to dribble, Derek White, hopefully being on late in the game and that type of thing. But I would think the scale leans towards the Knicks late in the game if it's a close one. So both teams' motivation should be to score, not necessarily lock up right from the jump in this one. Now, where are we going? Because like I said, I already have a play that I locked in. First up, I do like the Celtics in the first half. Plus 116 right now over on FD. That's, plus 105 on Caesars, plus 105 on DraftKings, plus 100 on ESPN. So we are getting, 10 cents of value there over on FanDuel. And the good thing about this is if we look at this series so far, Celtics, game number 1, win first quarter. Game number 2, win the first quarter. Game number 3, first half. Game number 3, win the first half. Game number 4, win the first half. Game number 5, they tied 59-59, but the Celtics in both games so far on the road here have dominated the first quarter. 71-46 in game 3, and then 62-51 in game number 2. I will say, we look at this Knicks team. They did win the first half in 57% of their games this year, so they obviously are a decent first half team as well. But the Celtics on the road, and this is just this season, right? This is not this series in particular. Celtics on the road won 71% of their first halves. Now, obviously, both these teams were better than a lot of the teams they played, but still, what I'm trying to show here is that the Celtics at least did what the Knicks did in the first half, but slightly better from a converting that and getting the win perspective. So yeah, I like the Celtics here in the first half. And what did I just say, 3 seconds ago when talking about why the Celtics should want to score? I don't know if I'm going to, like I said, I probably don't roll with Celtics money line or Celtics plus 2.5. The first half I have more value in, because when these possessions matter more, it just seems like, and I shouldn't even say seems like, it is a fact, the Knicks make those buckets seem regular, where the Celtics look like they have, one of their hands tied behind their back. So I don't want that Celtics pressure in the last 3 minutes here from a betting perspective. As a fan, I'm rooting for the Celtics all day long. But from a betting perspective, I don't want to have to be sweating out a Celtics money line play when it's a 3-point game with 4 minutes to go. I'd rather them do what they've been doing and saying, hey, for the first 24 minutes, we're the best team in the world, and then eventually end up having to struggle, right? So that's kind of why I like the first half. Their backs against the wall. This team can fight. First half, I don't see an issue with. Full game, I think we'd be sweating damn bullets. In terms of where we'd go from a player prop perspective, before we do dive into that, I want to talk to you guys about Underdog. They got a free pick here, a gimme pick, Jalen Brunson, 0.5 points. I've given him his props. The dude kills it in the clutch time. Now, that being said, yes, he leads the league in, points, field goals made and all that. Like, I bet he is last in the league in passing in the fourth quarter. But hey, if you're going to make your shots, who cares about passing, right? 2 points is 2 points. 3 points is 3 points. Getting to the line is getting to the line. So, huge props to Jalen Brunson there. He's going to score 1 point. Maybe he'll wait until, 40 minutes, through the game to score his 1 point, but he's going to at least score that 1 point at some point during the crunch time there. So I do hope that, it does take him, as a Celtics fan, I do hope it does take him 35 minutes to get going to score that 1 point. But nonetheless, even if he's the first bucket of the game, this thing is going to cash 0.5 points over on Underdog. If you guys haven't checked out Underdog yet, you are missing out on a really, really, really cool app. You can get it on the computer as well. All you do is pick 2 or more players, throw them into an entry. You pick higher or lower. We're going to pick higher on this Brunson square, right? Higher or lower on their set projection of points, rebounds, assists, points and rebounds, points and assists, PRA, 3-pointers made, all that stuff, right? Pick higher or lower. The more you get correct, the more you do get paid out. So go check it out, guys. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. You can also use code GUYBOSS when signing up. You'll get all of the same deals, and they have a ton of cool promos going on over on the app right now. So if you've seen Underdog, you've thought about checking it out and have not yet, make today the time to do so, because you get this free square and all all those promos. Check it out. Link down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. So I mentioned I have a player prop that I like, and this is not necessarily a knocking of Jaylen Brown. I've been really critical of Jaylen Brown, and most people know that, especially the Twitter crowd. But I do have a Jaylen Brown under, but again, it's not knocking him. I'm going under 6.5 assists from Jaylen here. This is minus 108 over on FD. It's in the minus 130s on some books and whatnot too. For the so anyways, to backtrack, the reason I like that under 6.5, he had 12 assists last game. That literally is not like Jaylen. Like, we can't sit there and be like, oh well, Jaylen 12 assists, no duh. Without Tatum, yes, he's gonna have more usage. He's gonna have the ball more. I don't think anyone's denying that. My thing is that Jaylen should, with his back against the wall, especially if this is a close game, again, the spread is 2.5, should be looking to score the ball, getting to hoop and all that. And yes, he did have 12 assists last game. Like 4 of those were these handoffs to, Derek White, who just hit a 3, or Peyton Pritchard. So if you watch that game, and I'm watching Celtics games pretty damn closely, you'll know that Jaylen Brown, in terms of creating his own assists there, or creating, good plays in the assists, he probably finished with, I would say, 7 assists, which, yes, would hit the over in this case, but I don't think that's going to be his role today. It doesn't need to be his role today. Derek White probably doesn't go for 30 plus. If he does, great, I'll take it as a Celtics fan, but Jaylen's going to have to be the ball handler that gets to the hoop today versus the guy that facilitates, especially with his back against the wall. With no Tatum, and as critical as I've been as Jaylen Brown, I would really not like it if Jaylen has a passing and sort of passive and, what's the word? He kind of just delegates and gets it out of his hands. I would not like him to have that type of a game in an elimination spot. You know what I mean? Now, it was easy to see last game that Derek White was going off, so Jaylen was able to pass the ball quite frequently and all that. He still had a decent game in terms of his scoring, right? I think he finished, 26, but his line today is 25, so pretty damn close to that. But yeah, to me, it's not going to be a delegation game of Jaylen. It's not going to be a passive game. He's going to have to defer. That's probably the word I'm looking for. He's going to have to be aggressive in scoring, and I think that comes with a few less passes and potential assists. He finished last game with 18 potential assists. He had 12 assists. That's a massive, massive conversion rate, even off 18. And like I said, some of those potential assists that were converted to assists were just these straight line passes that guys hit threes on in the spot up. I don't know if he gets as many of those today. One spot on the other side, on the Knicks side, and the only reason I like this is because it is plus 165 right now. The spot I'm going to be looking at is Deuce McBride. Over 1.5 threes, that would be the number to get the plus 165. He's hit 2 and 3 over his last couple games here. There could be a nice little sprinkle on that one. The thing that I will say is that he's not really playing the minutes that we'd want. I mean, played 29 minutes last game. Prior to that, in this series, he was going 18, 16, 19, 19. I think he played 20 minutes in the first game. So sure, if guys get in foul trouble, we might see some Deuce McBride minutes. Plus 165. I mean, he's going to get his shots off, right? But we just want to see him get a few more off. Because in games, I want to say it was like 3 and 4 or 2 and 3, whatever. He only shot the ball from 3. I think he either made it 1 of 1 game and then 1 of 2 the next. So the volume's not quite there. But for a guy that will catch the ball and shoot it, plus 165 to make 2 threes seems like it could be something that we keep in our back pocket. So we're probably rocking with, quarter unit plays today. We shall see. But yeah, I do think that this could be a decent spot for at least McBride to go out there and score, 6 points. I mean, his line right now, I think his points line actually is 5.5, and that is juice to the over. So yeah, maybe they expect him to go out there and score 6 points overall, which I would think would come via the threes. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you did make it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 13. Yeah, lucky number 13 for my Boston Celtics. And I know we have a lot of Knicks fans watching, and I've given Knicks the credit every step of the way. The only thing I've said constantly about the Celtics is the idea that they have, for the majority of the series, been, the better team. And it was crazy. I think in game number, I want to say it was in the game number 5, right? No, it must have been game number 4. Whatever, game number 5, I almost want to say it was, when they were like, wow, the Knicks just got a lead, and that was their first lead outside of the last 5 minutes of the game since like game 1 or something like that. It was absolutely crazy. So yeah, I do think I stand by the Celtics. Without Tatum, who knows, but we're the better team in this series. But the Knicks just absolutely nutted up when it was time to nut up or shut up, and you got to give them credit for that. I mean, Brunson is a beast. Towns has these sneaky games where he puts up 20 and it's like, I didn't even see him score. And Bridges, man, oh man. I've loved Bridges and hated Bridges in the past. And in that game where they really needed him when Brunson was kind of on the bench for a while, Bridges absolutely stepped up. So yeah, Knicks fans, honestly, clap it up to you guys. If this is the night that you beat the Celtics, congrats. I think that it was a very good series from y'all. But wish the Celtics were in better shape. Wish this thing was flipped, but it is what it is. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.